Is that one? Yes. Yeah, cool, cool, cool. One, me. Super, super, super. I'm glad you're there. Zero. Okay. Zeros. We'll tell you how to access that shortly. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Let's get this going, huh? Welcome to CodeUp. As I mentioned, my name is recording in progress. Welcome to CodeUp. My name is Katrina. I'm the CEO and founder at CodeUp. Basically CodeUp, I see that many of you don't know who we are. We're an international tech school specifically for women, trans, and non-binary people. We have 2 boot camps that we run, but I'd say we specialize in supporting women, trans, and non-binary folks transition into tech, typically with our full stack development boot camp, and then we have a more advanced boot camp, data science, basically these are the 2 ways in which we develop proficiency in these areas. More than that, we often do actually, and at the top of our impact strategy, are free workshops because we want to generate interest in all things tech, because we have this bias that everyone should understand technology. Everyone should code because it's a lot of fun, but also we want to diversify all the voices and the faces in tech, from having an opinion to actually building products for us. So that was the intention of CodeUp. We have this vision, we have this mission. Coding schools have been around for more than a decade now, but very few of them focus on the gender disparity in tech, and that's what we feel passionate about. And so we had about 400 people sign up for this 3-day coding challenge. It's the first time we've done this. In the past, we do a sort of one-off free coding workshop, and we wanted to build on that and give it more structure, more support to get you all increasingly excited about coding. So this is the intention of what we're doing. What else do I want to say? For folks, so you're going to be here for 3 days, which is great. I have Ruth here. Ruth is the general manager at CodeUp. She's going to give you a sense of how these next 3 days and the masterclass works. Show me in the chat how many have a pretty good understanding, 3, of what's in store for the next few days, and 0 of I'm kind of confused of how this is going to work. 2 2 1 1 1 1 0 2 2 2 0 0. Okay, no problem. We're all about educating. There's a lot of moving pieces. Ruth's going to give you the lowdown. Is there anything else I wanted to say about this? I think that's it. So Ruth, without further ado, let us know what's in store for us.
Perfect. Thank you, Katrina, and welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. Whether this is the first time you've ever joined a coding challenge or you've done a couple of these before, hopefully all of you will leave all of these sessions having learned something and can take something away from it. Just like Katrina mentioned, I'm Ruth. I'm the general manager at CodeUp. I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview and try and orientate you a little bit for the week. Feel free to ask me questions in the chat. I'll be sticking around for the session and be around throughout the next few sessions. And then Sophia, our lovely instructor, will go into more of the technical detail of exactly what you'll be covering in these next few sessions. So, as we've mentioned, there's 3 sessions. They're going to be happening today, tomorrow, and Thursday at this time. This time is 6 o'clock Barcelona time, but as I've seen just now, it's quite an international group, and so you can join from wherever you are. If you're not able to join the sessions, these sessions will be live on YouTube. And so after the session, if you just go and follow CodeUp on YouTube, you'll be able to watch the recording back as well. During the sessions, what we're trying to do is slowly build up to building your own portfolio page. And so in today, tomorrow, and Thursday's session, we'll be covering a different topic. Today will be HTML, tomorrow will be CSS, and on Thursday we'll be tackling something called Bootstrap. Like I said, Sophia is going to give you all the technical details for these sessions. In each class, we'll also be giving you what's called a coding challenge, and you can be working on this during the session, but also afterwards to build up. Then On Thursday, we're going to give you an extra coding challenge to complete over the weekend. And what we'd really, really love it is if you can join our Slack channel, which I will post here in the chat just now, because I saw not many people had been able to join that channel. Basically, this is our community Slack, and we have a specific channel in there for everybody that's joining the coding challenges. So please feel free to share your project on there by the end of this weekend, so the end of the day on Sunday. And what we'll be doing is we'll be sharing them with the community so that we can vote for the best project. So we also ask of you all to vote for your favorite project, because what we will then be doing is next Tuesday sharing the top 3 projects, and we have some prizes for the top 3 winners. And so these prizes will be a one-on-one session with the lovely Katrina, who we've just met here, or a one-on-one session with our career coach, or a one-on-one session with one of our full stack instructors to be able to do a live coding session as well. So this will all take place next Tuesday in what's called our masterclass. If you've not yet signed up, I'll put it in the link as well. I'll put it in the chat just now. Apart from that, I think I've covered everything. If there's questions now, feel free to post them in the chat, and I'll be answering them as well throughout the session. I'll pass it back to you, Katrina.
Cool. Thanks, Ruth. There's a lot of moving pieces, but don't be alarmed. We have the Slack community group and we have the Notion. So theoretically, everything should work well. If it doesn't, one thing that we love doing at CodeUp is collecting data. And so there will be surveys throughout this experience. I really want to encourage you to please take the 2 minutes it requires to do this survey so we can improve. We work iteratively at CodeUp, and you're going to learn about this, I imagine, in the next 3 days. It's really important. But then there's also something called response bias, where either if you hated the workshop or you loved the workshop, those are the folks who are submitting the survey. We want to hear, if you think it's mediocre, we also want to hear from you. So kindly, we ask you to fill that out. So let me just point out your instructor for the next 3 days. You all are very, very lucky to be working with Sophia. I was just going through my emails, and the first thing we ever heard of from Sophia was actually October 14th, 2020. And Sophia had signed up for our free coding workshop. And we were really excited to have her. And what happened after that was, I think a few days after, this is the height of COVID, she applied to our program. And I remember interviewing Sophia to do our program like it was yesterday. Sophia originally comes from Brazil. When I met her, she was living in Porto, Portugal. And now she's in Barcelona. We're lucky to have her. And she came from a training background, as well as retail background at MAC Cosmetics. Sophia, if I get anything wrong, correct me. And Sophia reached out to us, and Sophia, I hope you don't get mad at me. I didn't ask, but I just want to share something because I think it's powerful to hear your story and to see where you're at now. No, Sophia was writing.
For 1 second, I thought it would be a picture, but it's a story. I'm happy with it.
Okay. I do have that, but I'll save that for later. Maybe that's an incentive for the masterclass. No, but Sophia wrote us back in 2020. I would like to actually start my technical development because I've always been interested in technology, but my professional path ended up taking me into other directions, retail. She moved to Europe 2 years ago. And now with COVID, she had time to dedicate to herself. She was unemployed, and she'd like to use the opportunity to start working in this market. I also believe that as a woman, a safe environment to dive into this area will enable me to do this with more confidence, security, and power. And so fast forward, she did our boot camp. She did an amazing job. It was clear that this MAC makeup trainer had an incredible mind. She graduated the program. She started working as a developer. She's currently a front-end engineer at a company in Germany, working remotely. And she is also our TA manager. She started as a TA, then she was our TA manager, and now she is leading our full stack development courses. We're very lucky to have her, and I'm so happy that you're going to spend some time with her because she's the perfect person to light your fire and get you excited in a really safe and friendly environment. That's it. On Instagram, I've just included our handle. If you're posting this, feel free to tag us. I'm also going to share my LinkedIn account. I would love for you all, if you're thinking about getting into tech and you're not sure, you're nervous, I have been there. Check me out on LinkedIn. You will see my crazy journey. And I hope that this inspires you, because I basically launched CodeOp after doing a master's in data science and lacking a community. So I was troubleshooting my own issues. You can hear more about this in the masterclass. But for now, here's my LinkedIn handle. I would love to meet you all personally. And that's it, Sophia. And everyone in the audience, have fun with this challenge. That's the most important thing, have fun.
Thanks for the beautiful introduction. Honestly, one of the things that I had on the bootcamp, it's also part of the bootcamp, having the career week where you learn how to do elevator pitch and talk about yourself. I did some huge improvements, but I'm still not as good as Katrina, so she can introduce me better than myself. So thanks for this. I'm really happy to be here. As Katrina said, I also started with a coding bootcamp, like with something like that resembles this free lecture, and well, it worked out pretty well. And here I am. Teaching at CodeOp and working as a software, as a front-end developer and engineer. So like everyone, I mean, I think we had a lot of introductions. I'd love to hear more about you. And there are some things that you can share as well. I'm going to share the Slido with you. I don't know if you ever used it, but you can just point your phone and then open it with the QR code. And I mean, we have just 2 questions, and one of them is really relevant. I know that some of you already answered where you're joining from. So as soon as you point to this, I can go to the next slide. It's perfect that I can have Ruth checking if it's working. I can see her. Okay, so you're gonna see this poll, and I can see where you're joining from. So if you didn't have the chance to join before, so we have it here: Spain, London, Belo Horizonte. No, go back. Sorry. Germany, right? This is a lot of things. That's really cool. People everywhere, and I'm really happy when I have people all over the world, because I get really excited because it's people like all over the place can join. Really nice. And the next question is, what brings you to this session? What would you like to do? Like, what would you like to learn? Why did you sign up for this? Like I did one of this, and I did because I wanted to change to a different career. For me, was career change. But some people want to learn for fun, and having fun, it's important. Some people want to know if coding is right for me. Actually, this is really good if you're pursuing a career change. If you want to just know a bit more about the basics, the projects you're managing, which is great. It's also really helpful. We do have some product managers sometimes joining our bootcamps as well. UX, career path, interested in tech and software, learn a new skill, and maybe a career changing career. That's perfect. I mean, I think coding is super fun. I like this answer. And to learn about bootcamp. I'm also happy to answer any questions or have a chat with you later on. If you have any question regarding career change or my path, or how did I do this, or about the bootcamp itself, or going through a bootcamp and changing a career. But before we do this, before we talk about this, I'm going to explain a bit what we're going to cover today. Okay, like we already talked, we're going to cover for this 3-day challenge, we're going to cover HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap, and I will explain what each one of those things are. If you have like zero tech background, which is where I was a few years ago, there's no problem. This is very beginner friend, and I will explain all of them as we go, okay, what everything is. So for today, I'm going to tell everything you need to know about full stack development. So if you're also curious about the bootcamp and understand what is the full stack development, just hear the word and don't know what it is, I'm going to talk about a bit about this. So the difference between full stack, front end, and back end. I'm here saying I'm a back end developer, I'm a full stack developer, front end, and you're just like, so what? What do you do at the end of the day? I'm going to talk about the skills that are required and a bit of the job market, some real world projects, and then I'm going to cover today HTML. We're going to start coding. This is a very hands-on challenge. So the best way to learn how to code, it's actually coding. So you're gonna get your hands dirty like with code and actually start doing things today as well. So I'm going to explain first, and then we go through some example, and then you have a chance to practice, okay? Finally, at the end, we have a quiz, and we open for a Q&A, but obviously you can ask questions on the chat and on the Q&A. I will keep an eye on them. If they are related to the bootcamp, to the session, to the 3 days, Ruth is taking care of them. If they are related to, if they are technical questions, I will answer them as I have the chance to, okay? Cool. So let's begin with this. The difference between full stack, front end, and back end. Here I have, first, I'm gonna use just an analogy first to make it easier to explain. Imagine that you have a restaurant, okay? And then you, as the user, you just come to the restaurant and say, hey, I need a burger, I need some fries, I need 3 combo meals. And then you have someone taking care of your order. Like, okay, I'm getting your order, I'm delivering you something like the fries, the burger, or the 3 meals combo. Once you receive the order, you go to the kitchen and you ask for the kitchen to prepare, and they will collect all the ingredients. They will get the ingredients from the fridge. They will prepare the ingredients. They will give you back the full meal so you can give to the customer, right? That's the idea. Now in the restaurant. Now bringing this analogy to code, this is the user. This is what the user is requiring. So the front end prepares everything for the user. So the front end is like everything, including the design of the place, like where you can see it, everything that you can see, the balcony where you ask for your orders, the menu that you see your orders that you can select from. You see all this, and then you ask someone, hey, I need a burger. The front end will take care of this, will get your order, and you'll say, hey, I need to prepare this. But the front end don't have access to the ingredients. So the person taking your order cannot go to the kitchen and prepare your meal. So they will ask for the backend. The backend is responsible for handling all the logic like behind the scenes. So they will go to the grocer. They will get things on the oven. They will get things on the fridge. It will prepare something, and it will send the thing ready to the front end that will deliver this to the final user. So it's kind of a like coding for UI. So kind of like coding for you. Sorry, Yvette, what do you mean a like coding for UI? Can you be a bit more specific? So this is the analogy. And if you, for example, if you think about the login process, the form that you register, like and you log in, the form, everything, there's the front end that handles this. And then it sends to the backend that will check if you are you, if your password is correct and everything. And they will say, hey, you are who you say you are. Here is your profile data. So this is the difference. In the front end side, the things that you, okay, we have another question. The front end will be more focused on UI and user interface. Not exactly, because the design is something that can be created, like the interface can be created by a designer, but you still need a developer to code the design. But all the functionality, for example, if you type something in an input, if I want to log in a platform, okay, you just go to LinkedIn and you want to log in on your account, okay, you type your username, you type your password. The front-end developer will take care of grabbing the value, the actual value that you're typing, like Sophia, Moda, something. This is my password. It will grab this value. It will send to the backend, and the backend will check if you are who you say you are based on the information that the front-end grabbed for you. then the backend will say, yes, this person is who they say they are. And it will send my personal data, my picture, my image, my friends, it will send to the front end. The front end will take care of displaying everything, add the functionality of seeing the friends, being able to, I mean, for example, if you have the list of friends on the side, your posts here, something else in the bottom, this is all taken care. Everything that you see is taken care of, is the front end creating. All the data is coming from the backend. So the technologies that we have on the front end side, we have mostly HTML and CSS that I already mentioned today, and I will cover what these are, and JavaScript, which is the programming language that we use for the front end. And this runs in the user browser. And so Chrome, Mozilla, Firefox, this is just a browser. You see this running on this browser. On the back end, we have a web framework. We have a specific, you can choose your programming language. On the front end, over more than 95% and counting of the pages, modern pages, they are built with JavaScript. But in the front end, you have a range of different languages that can be used. You can program the back end with JavaScript, but you can program with Python, Ruby, C++, Java, range of other programming languages. You have the database, which is responsible for storing all your data. You have, you need to create a server who will provide the data, which is like the kitchen in my example, and the operating system that you're going to use for this. Like I'm going to use Mac, I'm going to use what I'm going to use. So this runs on the server side. Now, the full stack developer, it's a combination of both, which means you do everything. So basically the front end, it's focused on the layout, the animation, all the content organization that you see, the navigation, the graphics, all the logic, how do you display things, what do you, and also getting the data from the backend, sending the requests of the data in the specific time that you need. If 90% of the front end is done with JavaScript, it is possible to transfer the knowledge of programming in this to other programming language. Once you learn the first programming language, the second, it's a lot easier. And JavaScript, it's a really nice language to start learning at first, because it's a bit more user-friendly than some more complicated languages. So you can start with JavaScript, and then you can learn a second language after this. Now, in the backend, you're going to focus on building the code, debugging, the database management, and receiving the requests from the client, like that the front end sends you, and sending information back. So you're going to manage data, like data protection, all of this, the management of the data, building the structure of the code, it's in the backend. And then in the full stack, you're going to build everything, which is quite nice because you have a chance to touch everything on your code. Can we use Python to do it? I started learning that language. For the front end, do in JavaScript. You can do the back end with Python, and you can do data analysis. Most of it's done with Python, but not the front end. So this is the full stack developers' salaries around the world. I'm talking here about the average, okay? I'm considering like entry levels and seniors. So here in the, for example, in the UK, it's 48K. This is per year also. So in USA, it's 102K per year. In India, well, you also have them all in dollars here if you want to compare. So 68, 67, 73, 8,000 in India. So this is the average between them, so you can have an idea. So it goes from 105 to 81. So if in Australia as well, you can have 81K. So this is just so you can have an overview of the market, okay? And if you check on Europe, the average as well, I'm not saying that this is entry level, this is the average between entry level, mid-level, senior level, but you can have an idea by city. So I have Amsterdam, Barcelona, and just so you have a range. At least I was very curious when I was thinking about career change, and having an actual number helps me. Okay, I know where I'm leading to, where I'm heading to. So some real world projects. This is one of the real world projects. This is a project that was built in the Code Up bootcamp. This was the final project from a group. It's also full stack, so we have the back end and the front end. It's a shared app, so you can post your things, the things that you have, and then you can leave it there, and the person can request this, and you can share with other people. So you can filter, as you can see, you can add new things, you can add the price of it, you choose your category, and even post the file that you want to add for this product. This was a really nice project built as the final project in a bootcamp from one of our cohorts. In the bootcamp, we have 3 projects. The first one is individual. The second one, you add something to someone else's project. And the last one, you work in group, which is really good because in real world, we don't really work alone most of the times. Most of the times we work in groups and we share the code base with some like other teams or at least other people. So this is actually really nice. You can book, you have the notifications, and they build everything from scratch. Literally everything, all the navigation, checking all the things that you just posted, even the login and logout system, both the backend and the front, protecting the password, creating authentication, saying, okay, you are who you say you are, all of this. And this last thing, it's really nice because it's like, this is a live notification system. So you can post things and you get live messages. And you can see here and chat with other people. So it's a really complete project and built in 2 weeks. So quite intense. But here's an example of a real life project. Now, let's start talking about code. What level would we need to get to be able to apply for entry-level jobs as full stack developer? I applied for my first job as soon as I finished the bootcamp. So I did the bootcamp in full time, so meaning that it took me 3 months. And as soon as I finished the bootcamp, I started applying. I had no tech background previously. I just had the free class that I took, like Katrina said before, and that was it. And after 2 or 3 months, I got my first job because it's important that you build a portfolio. So that's why we focus on building 3 projects. So you have portfolio and you can start applying for entry level. And obviously you have the regular path. You can go to the uni and do the same thing. There's no problem. I'm talking from the bootcamp perspective here. So talking about HTML, HTML is the standard language for creating web page. It's a language of marks. It's not a programming language. We're just going to use to create hypertext, because HTML stands for hypertext markup language. Hypertext means that it's not just text. We can also add videos, images, so special text. The HTML will describe the structure of a web page, not its appearance, and I will show you this. But HTML is responsible for every web page that you open. It doesn't matter. Any page that you open right now, it's built with HTML. There's no web page that you ever saw that it's not HTML. So that's why this is the first thing that we're going to learn, because you cannot build an app, like you cannot build a page, like a website, without HTML. Now, in coding, each programming language or markup language, any language, you have some structure that you need to follow so it works. So the computer, basically, when you code something, you give instructions to the computer to interpret so it can do something, right? It's basically giving orders to the computer. That's it. But so the computer can understand those orders, you need to follow some really specific structure. So HTML has a way of being written and you need to follow these rules. The HTML, it's a markup language that we create using something called tags. We're going to use tags for creating our HTML elements, and I will explain all of them. But those tags, they usually go in pairs. So we have an opening tag and a closing tag. So for the HTML tags, we're always going to use these angle brackets, so those like this. And the opening tag we have here, so we have the angle brackets and the name of the tag. And the closing tag, it's really similar to the opening one. The only difference is that before the name of the tag, that in this example is P, you have a forward slash, like a bar, this. So you would have angle brackets and in the middle, the name of the tag for the opening tag, and angle brackets slash the name of the tag for the closing one. And obviously there are some exceptions like everything in life, and some of them do not accept content. So we close them in the same opening tag. So instead of having opening and closing, we just have the angle brackets, the name, and the slash at the end of before finishing the second bracket. I will show this in real life. Okay, this is the theory. I will show this in code. So this is an example. So you have the tag name. So the angle bracket, the tag name, this is the opening tag. I will explain, the P stands for paragraph. I will show you this in 1 second. I'm gonna send you something nice for this. Give me a second. Let me send you something like this. And I will explain how to define the tag name, okay? But this will be the opening tag. This is the closing tag, and whatever goes in between, it's what we call the content, okay? And all of this together, the opening tag, the closing tag, and the content in the middle, it's what we call the HTML element. Now, to make it easier, let me show you something. I want to show you something, but I just realized I'm not sharing everything. So apologies for this. I'm going to share everything again. Sorry. Okay, I think you can see it now. I'm going to send this link, all the links that I'm going to show you, I'm going to send on the webinar chat. This is the periodical table for HTML. So these are the tag names. This is what you would replace here instead of tag name, which is just a placeholder. We're going to use one of those. Okay, these are the actual tags that we can use it. And I know the nerd Sophia, I was really happy when I saw this for the first time, especially because I love chemistry. So I was just like, this is so cool. And the best thing, for example, the P tag that I just showed you, if you click here, it will explain to you. It's telling you that this is the text content. Obviously, they're separated, but once you click, it will tell you what does it stands for. So the HTML element represents a paragraph. Okay, and you can use this as a reference. To be honest, there are some of those that I never used in my life, but most of them and the most important we're gonna use today. But this is so you have it as a reference. Just a few of them that I never used. Okay, so this, it's a paragraph. We can replace it with the P tag here and here. And this is the content. So this is a paragraph. So if you, in this example, if you would open your website, you would see a paragraph written. This is a paragraph. It's the actual content of the paragraph. Now, the other thing that we can have for HTML elements, it's called attributes, because we want to target and manipulate specific HTML attributes. Some of the attributes we have to use because the tag requires. And the other thing, the other reason why we use attributes a lot is to target and manipulate, to style those elements. I'm going to show you HTML without CSS, without styling gives us a really like end of 90s website vibes. So we really want to target them so we can style them in some way. So the way of doing this is that in the opening tag of your HTML element, inside of the brackets, it's not in the closing tag, it's not in the contents section, it's in the opening tag in the middle of the brackets. You just give some space from the name of the tag, obviously, and then you add this attribute. Every attribute is a combination. It's a equation, like it's a pair of key and value. So it's an equality. On the left side of the equality, you have the name of the attribute, and this you cannot choose. You have to use the attributes that exist. So in this example, I'm adding a class attribute, and on the right side, you're going to wrap in quotes the value that you want to pass, that you will create. You can decide, you can choose. So in this example, I'm creating a class attribute that has the value of fruits. This combination is the attribute, the class with the value fruits, okay? And the cool thing about the class, which is, I guess, it's the attribute that we're going to use the most, it's that we can use in different elements. So I can have different elements with the same class, with the same value. So the thing is, whenever I target and whenever I say, hey, please HTML, give me the element that has the class fruits, both paragraphs, the apple and the orange, will answer back to me, which is great. You're going to learn in those 3 days that sometimes developers can be a bit lazy, not lazy, very efficient. So we avoid repetition. So if we can do 2 things in one, like we're going to do this. Target and manipulate attributes using CSS or JavaScript, doesn't matter. Target and manipulate JavaScript. Target and manipulate HTML. If you're gonna do this, if you're gonna manipulate with JavaScript, or if you're gonna manipulate with CSS, you're still gonna use the attributes. How do I know that class it's a given key? Alicia, we can Google this. I'm gonna share some resources with you, but also we're gonna use the most important attributes today. There are some keys that has some attributes that we have to use, and the class is the attribute that you're going to use the most. Okay, but you can Google also. I'm going to share some really nice resources that you can take a look. The most used one we're going to cover in this 3-day challenge. Is there a certain amount of space you need to put between the attribute and the apple, or just one space? Just one space. No, you mean here? No, there's not an amount. But here, as long as you close, it's okay. And here, one space, it's enough. The rest of the space will be ignored. Now, this that I'm telling you, I'm going to target both apple and orange at the same time, but sometimes I want to be very specific. I want to manipulate and target just one single element. So for this, I have another attribute that is called ID, which it's pretty straightforward. It's just an identifier, unique identifier, just like an ID. So the way of declaring it is the same. So you say ID equal sign, and then in between the quotes, you give the value that you want. The moment that you give an ID, this ID favorite to an element, no other element in your code can have the ID favorite. This one is taken. That's it. You cannot repeat. So this, it's also an attribute. Now, if I call the element with the ID favorite, just Peach will answer back to me. So now this is unique. The other thing that is very good, and we're going to use it very much, is the containers. But the containers, they do not display anything. They have no semantic value. They don't display nothing. The only purpose of the containers is to group things, just like in real life. You have a container, you put everything there, and then you move things all at once, okay? And the most used container, it's called div. You can say it for, I don't know, division. Every time you think about a section, you're going to create a container for this. If you open a web page and then you have the nav bar, that is a section. And then you have one other, I don't know, the introduction, and then you have an about me. All of those are sections. And when I start coding, if I think about a section, I would wrap this in a container. How does it work? Okay, class is Mary. Class is not unique and repeatable, but ID is unique and not repeatable. Yes, exactly. You got it. So how does work semantic and divs? So divs don't have semantic value. They just serve to group things. Now look at this example. I have my div here, just wrapping. The div is just like an HTML content. I have my open brackets and then the name of the tag, which is in this case is div. My angle brackets, then a /div. So opening tag, closing tag. Everything in between the opening and the closing one, it's the content, right? So those 3 paragraphs, they are the content of my container. And the best thing is, if I give a class to this container, if I pass an attribute to this container, for example, I give a class and then call shopping basket. Every time I call, say, hey, HTML, please apply this to the elements with the shopping basket, it will apply to all of them. If I call the element with the class shopping basket, it will give me these 3 paragraphs. So this is very handy to style things, to target things and manipulate them. Okay, now enough of theory, let's start coding. Before I start coding, and are we going to see how we can code using Python? No, we are not. We're gonna check HTML today, CSS tomorrow, and Bootstrap, which is a CSS library, on the 3rd day. So we don't cover programming languages in this, although I will explain a bit of how JavaScript manipulate a bit, like what's the function of JavaScript, but I'm not gonna teach JavaScript in those 3 days. There is one thing that I want to show and share with you, which is this Notion page here. And I'm going to send it here. Save this resource, save this Notion page, because here you have everything that you need for those 3 days. Okay, so here on the day 1, you have the slides for the code challenge, you have the actual challenge, and you have the Slack link. And the recording will be added here as well after the session. And for day 2 and day 3, we're going to add more things. So you can bookmark this page and then get back to it every time you need. Now, to do the call, codepen.io, to actually code, I'm going to use something called CodePen. .io. I'm going to send this here. Okay, codepen.io. I'm going to send you this. And whenever we create a website, what we're gonna see, it's a combination of 3 different things. You're gonna see the HTML, which is responsible for all the content. We're gonna see the CSS, which is responsible for styling and making our app looks beautiful. And we have the JavaScript, or the programming language, in this case, JavaScript, that it's responsible for the interaction. So the good thing about CodePen is that it will allow you to create things in all of those 3 things. I can create the HTML code, the CSS code, and the JavaScript code. CodePen will read and interpret the code for me, and it will display on the right side here the final result. So this is like our final website. We don't need to install nothing. We don't need to add nothing to our computer. We can just open this and start coding. This is beautiful. You don't need to install anything, just start coding. So if you open the CodePen, you can even start coding without logging in. But if you log in, you can save your progress, okay? So all you need to do, if you go back to codepen.io, you have it here. You just click in pen, and it will open a new project for you. If for some reason your design, it's like this, I think this is the default one. So if that happens to you, you can leave it like this. It's just where you code. Here you have your HTML code, CSS, and JavaScript, and here will be your final result, okay? I personally prefer to leave it like this. So I'm gonna make this smaller and have more space for my code. And I'm not gonna work with JavaScript, so I'm gonna collapse this part. And for today, I'm also not gonna touch CSS. So I'm also gonna collapse this. So I have my HTML and my final result, okay? The first thing that I want to show you is I'm gonna create a tag with you. So like I said, we need the angle brackets. So angle brackets, P, close the angle brackets. And my suggestion is that every time you open something that needs to be changed, that needs to be closed, open and close at the same time, because the chances that you will forget this at some point are huge. And you're gonna spend hours of your life looking for a missing bracket that you needed to close before. And without the closing the correct tags, it breaks, it crashes your code, okay? So this is a paragraph. There you go. This is my paragraph. Sometimes it takes a bit of time because, like I said, CodePen is processing everything behind the scene and doing this this logic of reading and interpreting our code and adding to the website for us. So this is my paragraph, and this is how website, like how HTML is. You create a tag and it generates the result here for you. If you create a different tag, for example, there is another tag that is called H1. And so I'm going to open and close. So angle brackets H1, angle brackets / H1. The H1, the H stands for heading, header. And it goes, no heading, and it goes from 1 to 6. The bigger the number, the smaller the heading. So the H1 is the biggest heading that we have. And this is a heading. Just by using a different HTML tag, I'm going to have a different output. So it's bigger, it's bold, so I have a different result. So you need to choose the correct HTML tag for what you want to create. Now, for this bootcamp, what we're going to create, it's like, for this workshop, this 3-day code challenge, what we're going to create, it's like a page that I introduce me, and I talk a bit about my city, like just a hero section, almost like a portfolio introduction, okay? Can I make comments in HTML? Yes, you can. Every programming language, you have some ways to ignore some lines of code. And in HTML, this is, let me see if I can use this. No, in HTML, it's / this, star forward, what is the command for HTML? Hey, sorry, my bad. To comment it out the lines of code in, so the heading would be introduction. Yes, this is correct. The heading would be introduction. You are correct. Let me just check something out here. Yes, that's the thingy. I need to do, I never remember this by heart. This, I don't use this. There you go. And I need dash this. Okay, if I do angle brackets, ! dash, and then I close, everything that it's in the middle will be ignored, okay? So this is being ignored, this is a comment. This is a comment. This is for human readability, not for the computer. The computer will ignore this. It doesn't matter. As you can see, it's not reading, it's ignoring it. And if you remove this bit, it gets back. Now, the second thing that I wanted to tell you is that HTML reads the code top to bottom. Okay, so from the top to the bottom. So if I want my heading, in my head, it makes sense that I have my heading on the top of my paragraph. I would need to cut this and add here. So H1, it's a heading and it comes in bold already. Yes, exactly. And so HTML reads top to bottom. If I want my H1 to be displayed before my paragraph, it needs to be in the previous line. It needs to be above in the code. Now, I will create a few things. I'm going to create like a about me section, and I will create like an introduction section, something like this. Okay, so maybe this, instead of this is a heading, I can just say, hi, I'm Sophia. Something like this, okay? And in this, maybe instead of a paragraph, I'm gonna make an H2. I'm a web developer. There you go. So because I'm using a different tag, I get a different result. This will be my about me section. So I'm gonna create a container for this. I'm gonna wrap this in a container. Now I'm going to create a div. So I'm going to angle brackets div, angle brackets / div, and I'm going to wrap this. I'm going to close the other. I'm going to close use the closing tag outside, like after the second H2. Okay. So as you can see, it has no meaning. It displays nothing. It does nothing. It just wrap this for me so I can group this, please. can I please request you not to delete your previous code, as this is helpful to reference and correct. I will create a new paragraph, and that was just to explain how the tag works, how to create a tag, and I will create a paragraph tag. And from this moment on, I'm not going to delete anything else. I will keep everything. Now, the other thing that I want to teach you about, it's called indentation. And well, let me show you. I'm going to just hit tab once in each one of those. And as you can see, now the code, it's not super attached to the left, because this means nothing. It changed nothing. It's for the computer, means absolutely nothing. But when we write code, most of all, we also write code for other humans or for ourselves. When we revisit the code from a few months ago or some years ago, you're going to say, what is this? You need to read the code and understand what's that. So if I do this indentation, which is this extra space, I know that those two pieces of these two elements, they are inside of this div, because the indentation helps me read this way. Nisha, I will do the paragraph now. And if you still need the previous code, let me know, but I'm not going to delete anything else after this, okay? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the paragraph. So I'm going to create a paragraph here. So angle brackets P, angle brackets / P. And I'm just going to write something. Lauren, no, why can't I do this? Okay, so Lauren Ipsum, it's just some dummy code. Okay, just the dummy text that we use as a placeholder. So in CodePen, if you type Lauren and hit the tab key, it should complete for you. Okay, I'm just going to use this to kind of feel this as if I had something important to say. Cool. So I have this, all good. I have this description, and what else? I want to create another section. A text filler, it's equal lorem ipsum. Yes, exactly. And actually, you can find really nice lorem ipsum generator, like with some specific theme, and you can find things all over the internet about this. So this is my about me section. I can even give it a class name or like an ID for this. I'm going to give it a class just so I can have it about -me. There you go. So the paragraph doesn't automatically come in bold like the heading does. No. So HTML doesn't do styling, but it has some very minimum styling. For example, to understand that the H, it's a heading, and the P, it's a paragraph. So the heading needs to be bigger. So it does make the code bigger and in bold, but the H5, I think, and 6 does not come in bold as well. But it's a bit bigger than the paragraph. But this is the default behavior of them. We can change this on CSS. I will teach you how to do this tomorrow. Okay, so this is my about me section, and I want to have like an intro section. That is I don't know, I want to say, welcome to my city, something like this. This is a page that I'm going to create from my city and my telling something about me and where I'm from. So I'm going to create something that it's on the top. And if I want to display this on the top, I need I need to start my code above. So I'm going to create a new div for this. So angle brackets div, angle brackets / div. And now you're going to see that how indentation is the best practice. If I create a div first, the moment I hit enter, my cursor, it's already a bit to the right. It's not super attached to the left, because it's nice. It helps readability, it increases readability. For this one, I'm just going to create an H1. So angle brackets H1, angle brackets / H1, and welcome to my city. Something like this. Oh, there's something that I'm missing. I guess if I have an about me section, I should have a picture, right? Is it important in div names to not have spaces? I notice you about me with a dash. Oh, this is a really, really good question. Like naming conventions. You cannot use space for this. You cannot use, do not use special characters. Do not use capital letters, or don't start with numbers. This is naming convention. You always use snake case, which means you just separate them with a dash, and you don't do spaces. Now, Mary is asking if we can put multiple H1 on a page. Yes, you can create as many H1s as you want. And you're saying yes to the picture, so I'm going to create a picture as well. This will be my initial image here in the About Me section. Before, I'm just going to give it a class to this. This will be the intro. And what does using the class function achieve? Good question. I haven't explained this yet. I will just create this for targeting purposes, but I'm not going to show you until tomorrow. I can give you a brief description by the end of today, like a sneaky peek on it, but we're going to need to manipulate this. So I want to manipulate this entire div. I want to manipulate this entire div. So I will do this for CSS. So, which means tomorrow. Now for the image, to create an image, we can use the img tag, which stands for image, and the actual image doesn't have a content. I don't want to write anything inside. We don't write anything, right? The content of the H2, it's actually what I'm saying here. The content of the paragraph is the text. The image doesn't have a content. So for this reason, we don't have a closing tag. So we just do / and close like this. So we're saying, hey, HTML, can you render an image for me? And HTML will say, yes. Sure. Where does this image come from? Okay, where should I get this image that you want me to render? What is the source of this image? So every time, always, if you use the img tag, you need to pass an attribute that is called src, which is the source of your image. So src = quotes. In between the quotes, you need to pass the URL of your image. Okay, I'm going to use a Pixum, Lorem Pixum. The same way we have Lorem Ipsum for the text, we have Lorem Pixum. It's just a random generator. I can send you this. There you go. And I'm going to use an image from here, okay, to get a square image. I want a square image. I'm going to copy this one here. If for some reason you get, if for some reason you get from Google Images or something like this, if you want to copy this, you right click and you don't copy the image, okay? You need to copy the image address, not the image address, if you want to use it. But for just showing demonstration purposes, I'm just going to use this one here. You can use the same. I just shared the website with you. And now in between, and by the way, Lorem Pixum, every time you refresh the page, you get a new image. If you paste the URL here, just like this, you get your image. That's all you need. You render the img tag and you pass the source of the image and you can see it. And before you ask, I know you have this in mind. Yes, you can pass the image that it lives in your computer. You need to pass the path until that image, or the image needs to live on your project so you can access it. And the free version of CodePen does not allow you to add images. So let's work with the URL, okay? Okay, this is the second thing. And the last thing that I want to create, so I have an image, I have an introduction, I have a description. So the source for pictures can come from website or from your own folders. Yes, but like I said, you will not be able to, you can, if you're building like your code in your, if you're building your own project, you have the file structures for that project, you can drag the image there and then just pass the path from the file that you are working until where the image lives. But the free version of CodePen does not allow you to add images, so we cannot see this happening now. So let's use the URL for this project, okay? If you want to use CodePen, the free version, it has to be the URL. The last thing that I want to create with you, and because I want to show you another tag as well, is the nav bar. You know, like the nav bar is just a navigation bar that with some helpful links that helps you navigate through the thingy. And I'm going to create my at the very top. So if it's at the very top, I'm going to create here at the top. And there is another container specifically that we can use for navbar, and it's called nav. So nav, angle brackets / nav, just like that. And we're going to add some links here. The tag for the link, it's A. It's what you're going to anchor a link to this. We click, you take to this link. So angle brackets A, angle brackets / A. Why the picture is changing? The picture is changing because this is lorem ipsum, okay? If you pass just one, like a static image, it will not change. But lorem ipsum, every time you, like, I'm gonna show you the code, okay? So you can see this. This is what happened. If I get this, and then if I refresh, oh, wait. Every time I paste this, I get a new image. If the picture is not showing, I can already, you can copy and paste the code here. I can take a look after, but make sure that you have the SRC, and make sure that you have the image path. And for this, you can also try with this URL here that I'm sharing with you, just to make sure that there's not an error with the URL that you're using. Make sure that it's wrapped in quotes. How do you move the lines of code around without cutting and pasting? I don't know if some code editors allow you to do this with command arrow up and arrow down. But I don't know if CodePen allows you. No, I don't have this shortcut in CodePen. Pixum.photos /200. Okay, Angela, the code is correct. Maybe you can share the rest of it and I can take a look in a bit. I want to build the navbar, so I want to create this link. The first link, I don't know, it will take to the About Me section. And the moment I do this, you're going to see that I create About Me here, but it's still not clickable. The link is the same thing. You're just saying, hey, HTML, can you create this link for me? And HTML is saying, yes, sure. When the user, oh, Julia, thank you. You have the best debugging skills than I do. You have the eyes of an eagle. You have a typo. This happens very often. Just swap the R and the C. When you have a link, you need to say, where do you want to send the user to? So the same way that you have the SRC for the image, every time you use it, every time you have the A, you need to pass the href, which is the reference where you want to send the user to. And then here you would have your link, something like this. The thing is, with CodePen, we also cannot send to external pages, okay, with CodePen. But this is how it would be. And the moment I pass a value, this is actually now clickable, okay? You can see it here. Since this will not work and it will crash, I will remove this, but I will teach you something cool. If you have an ID, I'm going to change this class to an ID. And whenever we want to reference an ID, we use the hash. We use this hash. If we are referencing an ID, we use the hash. So I'm saying, whenever you click in this About Me link, please take me to the element that has the About Me ID. And if I click it, well, now it's too small for too big for showing you this. But let me see if I do like, it's still the same. Yeah, there you go. It takes you to the About Me section. Whenever I have a bigger application, it will make more sense, and I will show you this again. So this is how you create a navbar. It's just the A tag. This allows you to navigate on the same page. Exactly. If you have the IDs, you just create the ID, and the link will take you to the element that has the ID. So again, it's the attributes helping you manipulate your page. Now, there's a really important skill that you need to have as a developer. Really important. Right now, I have the About Me link, but I also want to create one for my projects and one for the Contact Me, something like this. So I need more, I need some more links right here. So instead of, and maybe one for my CV, whatever. So instead of having just one, I need a few more. So I'm gonna do something that I do every day of my life, which is a good old copy and paste. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And then I'm gonna change a few things. I can move it empty. Too much. There you go. And this will be, I don't know, about me. This will be projects. This will be contact. And this is, I don't know, my CV. Something like this. There you go. And then you have an navbar. So these are some of the HTML tags. So I talked to you about the containers. I'm going to give it a class to this container, so it will make it easier for us tomorrow. I'm going to call this navbar. We talked about the tag. We have the class with the attributes. The attributes, this is for, we can use in any tag, the class and the ID. We have specific attributes, for example, the href that we use for the A, or the src from source that we use for the image. We have the h1, the h2, the paragraph, and talked about the content and everything. Now, you do have a task, you know that. So let me see this. You have a task. Where do I have this? Did I lost it? Oh no. I have it here. The Notion page that I just shared with you, that for some reason I lost it. I will share my code as well. This is the Notion page that you have. You have here the code challenge. If you click here in the challenge, you're going to have some time for doing this. Okay, so you can go to code pen. Most likely you are already coding along with me. You click on pen to start a new project. So you have all, if you are not coding along with me, you have the chance to do it right now and do on your own. You have all the instructions. And here you have some of the same code, you know, add the h1 opening tag. You have all the things that you need to create to do the same thing that I just did. Okay. So save your pen and then share with us on the slide. Okay, you have some actual tasks for the about me, a few things. So follow these instructions and work on this. Oh, Rachel even shared the specific page. Thanks for this, Rachel. So I'm gonna give you some time to work. Wait, why not? And I'm going to leave the Q&A also open on Slido. Feel free to drop your questions either on Slido or on the chat as you code, okay? I'm also going to share my code. I did. The Slack link, you can also find it here. I can share it again, but if you go back to the previous page here in the 3-day code challenge, you have it. Where is it? No. Where is it? You have it? Yeah. Thanks. Ruth is going to share it with you. Oh, found it. Thanks. Sorry, I had the wrong one. I'm going to open so you can see where it is in the Notion. So on your Notion page, you also have here the forum. So you can join on Slack here. You can share your code and we can take a look. I'm also going to share my code, although you do have in the instructions. So A, it's always combined with the href. Yes, the A, if you use the A, you need to pass the href. Like, look what happens if I remove. Okay, take a look at the CV. I'm going to remove the href. It's not clickable anymore. It's just like some regular text. I cannot click. I cannot do anything. Even when I hover over, I don't see this the hand saying, please click me. Because if you don't pass a href, you don't, HTML will not understand that you pass a link, so it will not understand that this is clickable. And yes, you do need to have an account on CodePen to say, fine, Ruth already answered. Thanks. Oh, really? Look, Ruth, it's also building her website. I'm looking forward to see Sharon Black. Okay, if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them here or in the Slido. This is what I wanted to do. I want to share this with you. Let me save. I'm gonna call this first day code challenge. No, I'm gonna call 3-day code challenge because I'm gonna build on top of this, okay? 3-day code challenge. Tomorrow I'm gonna keep building on top of this. Can you explain the difference in terms of usability between ID and class? Yes, obviously. The ID you use for unique things, and to be completely honest, we don't use that often because it's something you add a lot of restriction, like you cannot use this anymore. And also there are some hierarchy that you can build with this. So most of the cases, you're going to use a class because it's okay if you repeat, and that's completely fine. You only use the ID when you need something extremely specific. For example, to navigate the user to a page that you want, you would want to give an ID. So it never happens to navigate you to a page, to a section that you don't want. This is a very specific scenario. I don't want to give it a class, for example, and then for some reason you click on the About Me and you are redirected to a different section on my page. I don't want this to happen. So this is a very restrictive scenario, and then I would use an ID. Other than this, most of the cases we're going to work with classes for targeting our elements. Will we work tomorrow on the homework 1 or the 3-day one? Let me open the code challenge that you have in here. This is the same. So for the header, let's walk through the instructions. This is go to CodePen, sign up or log in, click in a new pen, and begin by adding a nav with the class navbar. So you're going to create a navbar just like I did. For the header, you're going to include the name of your hometown as the main heading. Write the name of your hometown and maybe a welcoming message. So you might need to add, other than what I have, maybe one extra H1. So you don't need to do specifically exactly what I did. You have maybe the welcome message. So you're going to build on top of what I already did, something else. Create an intro section for your header with the div container. Open the div, add a class called intro like this. Just like I did, move your title inside the H1, and for this. For the next section called About Me, you can be creative and adapt to your own city. Remember, this is just an example. So you can use the example that I create, but you can add your personal touches. I didn't share. Oh, sorry. I saved the thingy to share, and I didn't. This is my code, so you can use it as a reference. But also on Notion, you have everything, all the instructions as well. Just the classes are different, so I was wondering if it will change anything when following through tomorrow's section. No, the thing is, Tomorrow, we're going to build on top of today's knowledge. So we build the foundation, we build our content, the HTML, it's responsible for the content. And tomorrow, we're going to make it look a lot nicer. So we're going to style this code that we are creating today. We're going to build on top of it. So this is the content that we need. I need to have my links. I need to see my image. But then tomorrow, we're going to make it look a lot nicer. So here in the challenge, if you can find you even have the SRC here inside of the IMG tag. If you cannot find one, you have the Pixum. So you do have the same link that I used. You can use this one here, the Pixum. Close this. Create a brief description on you. So maybe you can do a better job than I did with this lorem ipsum. You can actually write something nice about you. And then final touches. Congrats, you finish your pen. Share with us on Slack. This. A question from the Slack channel. Do we share a CodePen link in this channel? Let me check something. I'm gonna try to open Slack so you can see it. I'll share with you. Where is it? Sorry, give me 1 second. Say we wanted to share our website with others, we would need to convert the CodePen code to HTML to make it a website. If you share this link here, we can see it like as the CodePen. You cannot really share the URL, I think. No, they don't give you this option. Template on safe and private. There is no option. You need to share like this, and I can do like this, and I will see it. If you save, and if you have you create the login, you can share with other people, and you can see it like this. You can also share a screenshot. You can share the link. It's up to you. The CodePen code, it's not that you need to convert to HTML to see it. So the idea is that if we build like our own HTML in our own code editor, we would need like an extension to run this in a local, like in your local computer in your own browser, so you could see it. So it's not that simple. We would need a few more steps. That's why CodePen is so handy, because it can do all of this for us, including not only reading and allowing us to write our own code there, but also reading the code and generating the website for us so we can see in their platform. So there is no other link. This is the link that you need to share. So yes, we can see the code, but we can also see the final result. On the example in the Notion, you have two closing paragraph. In the challenge, before step 6. Thanks. Open the toggle. Which toggle? Before step 6. I have it here. Important. Here. Sorry. No, this is okay. Here. You are correct. Ignore this last paragraph. I will fix this on Notion, but for now, ignore this. Really good eye. I mean, you should get like a debugging certificate as well. You could find the typo error. You can find the extra closing tag. But yeah, for now you can see it. Cool. Thanks for joining, Kate. I'll see you tomorrow. More questions? So the thing in the HTML periodical table is the HTML language. Now, the thing in the HTML periodical table is the HTML tag names. So if you open, for example, the A, really good. The anchor creates a hyperlink to other page files. There you go, or any other URL. And then you can click here. You can even open the HTML element reference, and it will tell you more things. So they will give you even more resources to see this. The developer Mozilla documentation is really good. You can take a look here, and if you open, it will give you more examples. And maybe this is a bit, you have a lot of other things. And this is another W3 school. This is another thing that I really like. Let me share this with you. W3 School have a lot of nice resources and explanation. So I'm going to share this with you here. And so there you go. The introduction, the basic, the elements, the attributes, and a lot of other things that you can have. So 1,000 of explanations. And here you have some exercises that you can have if you want to. So you can use this as a resource. Like as a result here in the introduction. What is HTML? Some more examples and everything. Does it ever matter if we use or? Okay, if we use single quotes or double quotes, or these interchangeable, it doesn't really matter as long as you open and close that given one with the equal one. For example, here, if I have this class with double quotes, as long as I close this one with double quotes, it's fine. The rest of my code is not affected, even if this one it's with single one. So as long as you open and close with the same one, it's fine. We have some excellent CodePen links coming through already on this. There you go. I want to see it. Wait. You're too fast. Oh my God. I'm here talking, and you're sending nice codes. Browse channels. This. Oh, someone from Porto, missing my previous, where I used to live. I lived there for a bit. Look at this, you're very professional. Utrecht. That's really nice. You're doing an amazing job. When I paste the source of Google image, it was a really, really long URL. It looks awful. Can we fix it? I know. Sometimes that happens. No, we cannot fix it. If the URL of the image that you want is that one, we cannot change. But if you want, there are some other resources. For example, Unsplash. If you use Unsplash, you can just get an image and you can copy the image that you want, and it will give you probably 90% nicer URL. Let me copy. I'm going to get a square one. Like this. I'm going to copy the image address and let's try to paste it here. If we can even check it, the size of it. No, it's huge. That's it. We cannot change the URL itself. So I had a question, and the question was, that's so, Ruth is on fire. Let me see if it's, there's one thing that you can do though. Okay, we have one, okay. That was it, sorry, I said too much. It's a good practice to shorten the URL. There are a lot of tools to, I mean, I wouldn't go for this. Just use the regular URL. You don't need to overcomplicate your life for now. This can be like a future thing. Ruth, do you want to say something? Okay, so cool. That was it for today. My image does not work. They always show us broken images. Hazel, make sure you can also post on the channel. As you saw it, like you can help each other. The tech community, it's super based on support, like from our peers. So you can post it if you have an error, share a snippet of the code, and we can take a look, and you can help other people debugging their problems. Make sure the URL work. So great work. I look forward to see what you're building. So please keep sharing on Slack. And tomorrow we're going to build on top of this. We're going to style this page. I'm going to explain CSS, and we're going to continue coding. So that was it. Thank you very much. And I hope you had a good evening, morning, night, depending on where you are. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.